Ay. Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. We are going to start the panel businesses with a focus on climate and biodiversity. First of all, I would like to thank the Valux Foundation, in particular Charlotte Mogensen, who couldn't be here this afternoon, but he was key player and strategic partner in the organization and the definition around this pavilion. We are going to have during this panel Dr. Omar Alatas, Head of Environmental Protection and Generation at Red Sea Global. Very welcome. We are also have with us Ulrich Bang, Danish Chamber Commerce, and David Anfors from the Convention of Biological Diversity, as well as Thomas Hanker Christensen, who is coming and who belongs to the Danish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and he's a special climate ambassador. So, biodiversity, which refers to the rich variety of life on Earth, is more than just an environmental concern. It serves as a crucial foundation for the stability, resilience, and overall well being of our planet. From complex ecosystems in forests and oceans to the genetic diversity of species, biodiversity plays a vital role in supporting human life and business operation in various ways. In recent years, there has been a growing recognition of the interconnectedness between biodiversity and business. The way businesses operate, source raw material, and interact with the environment directly affect biodiversity. Conversely, the health of ecosystems significantly influence the stability and continuity of business enterprise. These interdependencies is not just an ecological concept, but it is also an economic and social imperative. The ongoing triple crisis, environmental, economic, and social, impact everyone. To address these challenges, industries and government are taking actions to contribute solutions. While many industry understand the importance of biodiversity and have started implementing measures, studies reveal that numerous companies have yet prioritized biodiversity in their sustainability strategy. So, to effectively implement the Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework adopted in last December, business need a more cohesive and socially responsible mindset to live in harmony with nature. So the discussion around this panel will highlight the importance of biodiversity, emphasizing its intrinsic value and its role as the foundation of life on Earth. Biodiversity provides essential ecosystem services such as clean air, water, and food, influencing climate regulation and disease control. So it's important and it's need to minimize the impact of business operation on biodiversity and transition. I'm going to give the floor now to Dr. Omar Altas. Please, Dr.
Well, thank you so much for the introduction, and it's such a pleasure to be with the esteemed panelists. Um, so, Omar Al-Attas from Saudi Arabia. I'm part of Red Sea Global. That is some of the projects within Saudi Arabia on the Red Sea, promoting for sustainable tourism. We do have multiple projects along the Red Sea, where we have on the north project called Amala, and the other one is called the Red Sea Project. When we first had the idea of developing tourism and touristic destination, we were faced with a challenge. We were blessed with an area of pristine environment. It was almost untouched, beautiful nature, and also it has a bit of biodiversity on both terrestrial and marine. So rather than we jump into the development, we did the responsible thing. We took one step behind. We have developed a marine spatial planning where we have divided this whole area into a grid, and we started to calculate what are the stressors that we have to prevent to put a cap on the development. That has resulted into the phase one of the development of around 75% of these islands is going to be left aside. Nine of them, they're going to be considered as reserves. And then the focus on just few other islands where we would like to focus on the development. There are two major components of the work as we move into this journey. The beautiful developments that we want, but at the same time following the sustainable kind of a commitment that we took on ourselves. Where our developments will have be running on renewable energy, just on solar. And I want to share with you the great news that we last month we have opened our first resort, Six Senses, fully operational on renewable, zero waste plastics, near zero discharge, zero waste to landfill, clean mobility. These are all the commitments that we took on ourselves as part of the development. At the same time, what we needed to do to protect the biggest assets. I know people, when they come, they would like to see this incredible, amazing developments, but they want to see something different. They want to enjoy the beauty of nature. At the same time, we are faced with multiple challenges: climate change, and also, whatever you do, development, you're not doing it properly. You have it. And that's why, since the beginning, we have uh, adopted the approach of regeneration, where the focus was not only protect, conserve, at the same time enhance. And keep in mind, I'm talking about a development company. So what we have done additional to all the aspects of sustainability and environmental protection around the development, we have focused also on what needs to be done for the nature. It took us 2.5 years with a big team of scientists. Just I wanted to imagine, I do have around 70 people just reports to me alone who are focused on multiple aspects of environment in the marine and the terrestrial. And through this journey, we were able to identify through the assessment our baseline area. We will never be able to measure the impact of climate change, will not be able to measure the impact of development, will not be able to measure also the results, hopefully, or the fruitful results of our enhancement efforts unless we know what we're dealing with. Last year, we have produced the largest assessment report ever produced by a development company, and we know exactly what we have in our area. Even in some aspects, we have utilized machine learning and artificial intelligence to identify what are the type of colors because it's in a massive area. And through the utilization of these techniques, we were able to increase the efficiency and accuracy as well. After we have identified all of these aspects of our marine and baseline of both the say the habitats and the species, we started to work on the plan of enhancement. But definitely, we are looking around to learn from the issues that some of our neighbors are having. We don't want to jump into adopting a certain technology and technique where maybe it was successful somewhere else and adopt it in our area. We have a unique environment, and definitely that would require that we try through multiple assessments and pilots and proof of concepts, different techniques on all aspects of enhancement of the environment. The lovely thing is, and by the way, throughout my journey, I started as a professor at the university covering academia. Then I moved into the government and I was a national regulator. And now I'm working with Red Sea Global. The beauty of what we do is when I meet with the team, I tell them the following: let your innovation fly and don't even consider the sky to be your limit. And that has resulted into amazing innovative ideas that we are bringing into reality. And as we speak now, in 1 year, we have more than 25 projects, different enhancement efforts that are there on the ground. Additional to all of this, we have established a big network to be able to help us to monitor the progress as well as any impacts that is going on. This is just to show you a real example of action that's there on the ground. The journey is not easy. The challenges are plenty, and also the perception of so many. But what's going to happen due to the climate change? It's too negative that we want to do something about it by acting and doing something on the ground. So this is just one example of multiple giga projects within Saudi Arabia. We focus on development and at the same time environmental protection, preservation, and enhancement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Omar Alatas. It's a very interesting, and probably we are going to have several questions about your innovation and about that resort that you mentioned that seemed very interesting for us in particular, because in Chile we have three park for conservation, and one of the major concerns is how can we protect land in a sustainable way. So now I'm going to give the floor to Mr. Ulrich Bang, Danish from Danish Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.
Thank you. Just, I think I'll have two remarks. I think the first one is just getting the cable here. Is related to the energy sector, and the second one would be working with companies sourcing more sustainable products. There's a cable issue here. Okay, solved it. The second one is related to companies sourcing and looking into biodiversity impacts when sourcing products, commodities. Um, I'm representing the Danish Chamber of Commerce. So we organize a lot of companies in Denmark, trading with a lot of foreign companies and countries as well. So when looking into the energy sector, what's at stake here is we're talking about the big political discussion phasing out fossil fuels. Whether that will be in the text or not, I think that's up for discussion. But what that actually means is that we need a lot of infrastructure to be built to replace fossil fuels today. That is already happening. We're looking at offshore wind farms, onshore PV, a lot of onshore wind turbines as well here in the region, but also elsewhere. So how to do that in a way where you balance the impact on biodiversity? I think that's one big question we need to solve. But we also need to acknowledge that there might actually be conflict, or there might be some issues to deal with when we are looking in building new infrastructure, because we all agree that we cannot just keep on running the same production facilities as we are today, because that is actually what's causing the climate crisis. So we need new investments, we need new infrastructure, and that actually has an impact on biodiversity. So how to mitigate that? I think that's the clue. There are some few examples I could point to when you're looking at offshore wind. Of course, while you are building an offshore wind park, you will have a lot of disturbance to the marine area while you construct it. You can mitigate part of that, perhaps all of it, but to be honest, there will be some impact. What you can do in the longer run is actually you could build artificial reefs around the parks that could create a new ecosystem. We're actually increasing the marine life and the conditions for marine life. So that's just one way to look at it. Same you could see when you are talking about onshore deployment. Just one interesting story on that. So when you're drilling this down to what is happening at a national level, coming from Denmark, where we have a lot of renewables, we have been working on that for many years. This is a big discussion at the moment. There's a political objective to quadrupling the amount of onshore renewables, and there's a big discussion on how can you actually make that go around looking into biodiversity. But if you're looking at the numbers, we are talking about 1.3% of the total area. Agriculture today is 67% of the area in Denmark. So sometimes I think that will be one of my points is when we are talking about clean energy, this is not a trade-off between biodiversity and clean energy. It's actually you can have both, but you need to accept that in the short term there might actually be some disturbance on biodiversity, because the green electrons you're getting from a wind park is actually replacing gas, coal, or oil from another country. So that's one remark. We should reflect on. The other one is when we're talking to our members, the way they are sourcing their materials. One of the big things they're looking into is how can you actually replace soybean or palm oil, which has or could have a very high negative biodiversity impact. And how do you get the measurement right? And I think that is the big challenge if you're going to look at what can we learn from all the work that's been carried out on climate change, getting the same metric into place. How do we measure carbon? We don't have the same measurement when we are talking about biodiversity and impact on nature. And I really think that's an area where we should speed up, because companies are ready. They are looking into how to engage, but of course, they need to have a common language. I think that will be my 2 points for debate here this afternoon.
Thank you very much. That's very interesting, and also because in South America, we can discuss after. There is a big issue about energy, about the need of energy. We have several kind of production, but obviously it's a big social discussion also, and we can discuss that with some representative also of other system of energy. Now I'm going to give the welcome and the floor also to the ambassador Thomas Anker Christensen. We know that it takes time, but it's normal here.
There you go. I apologize for arriving very late. I had to get the Danish Crown Princess escorted out of the venue. And so sorry, Madam Moderator.